An inclined plane is a simple machine with no moving parts. It is simply an even sloping surface. It makes it easier for us to move objects to higher or lower surfaces than if we lifted the objects directly upwards. It is believed that ancient Egyptians used inclined planes to carry heavy stones to build pyramids. The world's poorest countries tend to have the largest family sizes and fertility rates. When people have no economic security and cannot rely on their government, they often have children to ensure they will be looked after when they are older. Where child mortality is high, there is an even greater impetus to have more children. The magnetic field is a vector field. At each point it has a magnitude and direction. The direction is defined as the direction of the force that a magnetic north pole would feel at that point. Since like poles repel and opposite poles attract, this means that the magnetic field goes away from the north poise of a magnet and towards the south pole. Canada's first ever poverty reduction strategy is built on the vision that all Canadians should be able to live in dignity. It is also built on the belief that all Canadians deserve to be treated fairly and fully participate in the development of their communities. To be effective, the strategy must have transparent indicators, clear targets, and tangible actions. The root systems of vegetative cover hold soils in place and prevent wind and water erosion. It also ensures its supply of organic matter from dead leaves and the dropping of animal waste. The vegetative cover also shelters the soils from excessive heat from the sun. It helps to reduce evaporation and retain soil moisture needed for the breakdown of organic matter. Relish the fall colors while you can. Scientists think that the rich reds, oranges, and yellows of fall may be one of the many casualties of global warming. Leaves change color in part because of cues taken from dropping temperatures. As temperatures remain warmer through fall and winter nights, they could delay the beloved fall color shift. Travel planning is all about the details. But while you may be a master at uncovering the cleanest hotels and practicing proper airplane etiquette, there's an element of being a guest that stumps even the savviest of travelers. Tipping etiquette, who to tip and how much of a tip to give can be confusing. The shorter days are assigned to trees to begin to prepare for winter. During winter there is not enough light for photosynthesis to occur, so as the days shorten throughout autumn, the trees begin to close down their food production system and reduce the amount of chlorophyll in their leaves. Gender inequality is one of the oldest and most pervasive forges of inequality in the world. It denies women their voices and devalues their work. Despite some important progress to change this in recent years, in no country have women achieved economic with men, and women are still more likely to live in poverty. A lecture tends to be a one-sided class where you and your fellow students will sit and take notes while a lecturer talks about a specific topic or gives a presentation. This class is information heavy, so taking notes is essential and there may be little time to ask question. Lectures are the main method for your university to teach you the necessary material. Like coffee, plain tea contains just a couple of calories per cup and no sugar, but what's added in it can change that situation. A medium sweet tea and a large iced latte from fast food restaurants both pack about 7 teaspoons of sugar. However, the American Heart Association recommends no more than 6 teaspoons for the whole day. When your hands and feet itch, the right treatment can bring you some relief. How you treat the itching, though, depends a lot on the cause of the problem. It may just be dry skin, which can be brought on by winter weather or too much scrubbing, but sometimes, itchy hands and feet can signal another health condition. The geosphere includes all the stuff that makes up the crust and the core of the Earth, and everything natural and lifeless that makes up the surface of the Earth. Examples are all the rocks and sand particles from dry land to those found at the bottom of the oceans. The geosphere undergoes infinite processes constantly, which in turn modifies other spheres. Despite the fact that every woman goes through menopause, there's not enough research, Anna says. Our scientific understanding of menopause is vastly limited due to the lack of data. Menopausal changes are correlated with women's cardiovascular, cognitive, and overall health, so a database will allow us to better understand these connections. Advanced Robotics is the international journal of the Robotics Society of Japan and has a history of more than 33 years. It is an interdisciplinary journal which integrates publication of all aspects of research on robotics science and technology. Advanced Robotics publishes original research papers and survey papers from all over the world. Being able to understand and interpret facial expressions is a big part of nonverbal communication skills. There are often times in conversations when just listening to the words that someone is saying will only tell you half of the story. Words don't always match how we feel, and our facial expressions often have a habit of giving us away. Since their emergence, films have played a significant role in the lives of people around the world. Movies have the power to share new ideas and teach lessons about the past or future. Sometimes, films only exist to entertain us. Just like there are many different styles of art, there are many different styles of film. A typical fence with a few wires allows most animals, such as lions or wild dogs, to go over, under or through it. For larger mammals, such as elephants and giraffes, we will create large fence gaps that consist of a sloping, loose rock wall. Because of rhinos' short, stubby legs, they are unable to scale these rock piles. It's time for this young loggerhead turtle to go to work. We can tether turtles in these little cloth harnesses, put them into this tank and dull swimming place. University of North Carolina biologist 𝗓𝗏𝗯𝗀𝗀 studies sea turtles that are programmed from birth for an extraordinary journey. Mother turtles buried the eggs on the beach and then returned to the sea, and the eggs hatch about 50 to 60 days later. Technological advances are eliminating the need for bank tellers, threatening an entry point for women into the male-dominated industry, which has sought to promote more females to leadership roles. While the climb remains steep, some financial companies have managed to improve the gender balance in their executive ranks. As teller jobs dwindle, there's a risk that banks will raise the educational requirements for those jobs. Misinformation is everywhere. It can be spread inadvertently if people make a genuine mistake. In today's environment, people get much of their news from social media, which lacks gatekeepers and therefore allows misinformation to spread fast and wide. People are being bombarded with information, and it has become difficult for them to separate fact from fiction. Many scientists examining human impacts on coastal ecosystems have focused on agricultural runoff, because fertilizers that wash into the sea carry massive amounts of nutrients and pathogens that can harm marine environments. But the impacts of human sewage receive far less attention. Part of the reason may be that unlike trash or oil spills, sewage can be invisible in the water. Minerals are important for your body to stay healthy. Your body uses minerals for many different jobs, including keeping your muscles, heart, and brain working properly. Minerals are also important for making enzymes and hormones. Most people get the amount of minerals they need by eating a wide variety of foods. If the intake is not enough, doctors may recommend a mineral supplement. Arms races may involve a more general competitive acquisition of military capability. This is often measured by military expenditure, although the link between military expenditure and capability is often quite weak. Such more general arms races are often observed among countries engaged in enduring rivalries, which may sometimes appear to follow each other's military spending levels. Occupational therapy helps people of all ages who have physical, sensory, or cognitive problems. It can help them regain independence in all areas of their lives. Occupational therapists help with barriers that affect a person's emotional, social, and physical needs. They also help kids to improve their school performance, and aid their daily activities. It also boosts their self-esteem and sense of accomplishment. Archaeologists have reconstructed methods of timekeeping that go back to prehistoric times, at least as old as the Neolithic. The natural units for timekeeping used by most historical societies are the day and the solar year. Calendars are explicit schemes used for timekeeping. The first historically attested calendars date to the Bronze Age, dependent on the development of writing in the ancient Near East. Designers of new nuclear systems are adopting novel approaches in the attempt to attain success. First, they are utilizing a nuclear fuel cycle that encompasses steps from the mining of ore to the management of wastes. Second, they are evaluating systems in terms of their sustainability, meeting present needs without jeopardizing the ability of future generations to prosper. Varieties of onion differ in size, strength, and color. The yellow onion is the most commonly known variety, which has pale golden skin, greenish-white flesh, and a strong taste. Red onions are an attractive, milder alternative to the yellow onion with their shiny purple skin. Spring onions are immature onions pulled before the bulb is fully formed, and can be recognized by their long green leaves. The benefits and disadvantages of globalization are the subject of ongoing debate. The downside to globalization can be seen in the increased risk for the transmission of diseases. Globalization has of course led to great good, too. Richer nations now can come to the aid of poorer nations in crisis. Increasing diversity in many countries has meant more opportunity to learn about and celebrate other cultures. Lawmakers are pushing a plan to fight what they perceive as a threat to democracy: the sharp decline of local news coverage. The United States has lost 1/3 of its local newspapers in the past decade. Those that remain are operating with far fewer reporters than they used to, as more than half of total journalism jobs in the United States have disappeared over the same period.